So, welcome back to my channel. So, today we are going to learn about the network layer of TCP/IP model. So, like, as we know that, I'm not going to discuss about today's objectives because that's gonna be the whole network layer. It's gonna be a really big thing to understand. I'm sorry. So, we already know that the application layer have many protocols like HTTP and all that stuff. Now, we mostly use HTTP for the website and for like requesting something to the server. For transport layer, we have TCP and UDP along with few other protocols. And for the network layer, we have a few of the protocols, but the main protocol of a network layer is the IP, which is a internet protocol. So now, before starting the network layer mechanism and everything, I really want to discuss the postal service of United States. Okay, don't worry, I'm not going to complain about the postal service in this video, but this is related to network layer. So let's get started. So, what happens in a postal service? Let's take an example of sending two mail to two different friends. Let's take that you have two friends. One is living in the next town, and one is living on the other side of your country. So what you will do if you want to send mail to both of them? Are you going to use two different mailboxes for that, or are you going to use only one mailbox for that? Obviously, we all know that we are going to use only one mailbox. We are going to drop that mail into just one box. We are not going to uh, take like two different boxes for every destination. Like, we don't have that. So we are going to use only one mailbox. So what happens after dropping that mail into the box is we don't care. Really, we don't care. Who will care that, wow, okay, I have dropped this mail into this mailbox and this will go over to this post office, then this and then that, and finally this will reach. No, we don't care about it. So that is post office job, not ours. So after like collecting all the mail from the mailbox, the post office will group that mail into different uh, we can say zip code. According to the zip code. Let's take an example that there are a bunch of mail from like Indiana or maybe bunch of mail of New York or any of the destination. Then the post office will collect those things, group it into the different categories or different zip code, and then it will start delivering the mail. Now, what happen if it is in the same town or maybe next town, then post office can directly send that mail to the destination by using their maybe a truck or something. If it is in the different state or on the other side of the country, as we discussed, that our friend is living on the other side of the country, then what the post office will do? It will send the mail to the next post office where it has to send. For example, we are sending a mail from Indiana to California. So the post office in Indiana will send the mail to the post office of Arizona or any of those, a nearby post office, we can say. Uh, so this is how from one post office to another post office, the mail travels like several post office and then reach to its final destination. So this is how whole postal service works. Now, what is the relation of the postal service with network layer? So in a TCP/IP model, let's take the application layer and a transport layer as a person. So what all happens, we know that the application layer requests a file to the server, then server will collect all the data. It will be ready with the TCP protocol of transport layer, making the packages of that particular file. So this both layer works together as a person. They creates a package. Now it is ready to transport. So here we need a post office. We already know that after dropping the mail into the box, we don't care. So same application layer and transport layer don't care. Like after creating the packages, putting the packages into a particular destination, they will be like, okay, now it's the job of a post office, not ours. So who is the post office over here? And that is router. So router is a post office. Now what is router? I'm going to explain in this video, but for instance, just take it, it's just a networking device. So, what router does? A router delivers the message to the correct destination with the help of the network layer. And now we know that the post office sends the mail according to the address. We have our own address as well as the destination address. But here in network layer, what happens? So, this is where the IP protocol of network layer comes into play. The IP protocol, which is Internet Protocol, defines that each host have an IP address. We have heard that the IP address of this is that because when we used to connect it with to a particular wireless connection, then you will be able to see the IP address of that device. So this is what it is. It is the address of a host computer to the endpoint machine or anything that we are going to send. For example, we are requesting a file to be printed from a printer. So printer have its own IP address, computer have its own IP address. So this is where the address comes into play. So according to the IP address, the router will send the packages to the destination IP address from the original IP address. So, the network layer defines the detail how one network infrastructure should be created so that the network can be delivered. So basically, we all have seen that I mean, this is what the network architect does. That they used to create the whole network infrastructure. They know that this particular thing will go from here to that. So this is how it's all created. Because the thing is, like the host computer and the endpoint might be in the same lane, which is the local area network, or might be they are in the different two whole networks. So, the IP address is the only way to send the data from one machine to another. But what happens in this whole thing? So it's the same like the postal service, I can say. So here, for the IP address, we used to use the DDN, the dotted decimal notations. So, how does the router works as an post office? So the router gets the data from the host over here. Now router will know like where is the receiver. So if the receiver, how does a router know? Router knows the receiver through the IP address of the receiver. So it will send the mail towards the receiver. I mean, maybe directly or through another router. So this is where the postal service and the network layer comes into play. So basically, here now I will tell you the detail of the router. Routers are the networking devices that connects the part of the TCP/IP networks together for the purpose of routing. Now, what is routing? Routing is a term which is also known as forwarding, the forwarding the mails. So basically, a router and a post office are same because they are forwarding the mails from one post office to another. The post office will send the mail according to the address, and the router will send the mail according to the IP address. So that's the only difference between them. Now, what is the IP routing basics? So, how does it forwards the mail? This is very simple. So, okay, now let's go back to the application layer. When an application layer asks for a website, then a server will create an HTTP protocol header, a TCP protocol header, as well as the IP protocol layer. So IP protocol layer, I mean the header, sorry. So header will have the source as well as the destination. The source IP address as well as the destination IP address. So now server have everything in it. It has the information of IP addresses into the packages. So once the server have the tendency to send the data to the first router, which is R1 over here. Now, once the data is over here, now R1 will check for the IP address. Okay, let me see what is the destination of this mail. So if the destination of this mail is 2.2.2.2, which is an IP address of this computer, then server will think, oh, sorry, the router will think that, okay, now this destination is toward this way, so I have to send it to the router 2. For example, if this thing is over here, then the router will send the mail to the router number 3. So this is how it decides. The router basically decides the direction of the mail according to the IP address. So this was all about the network. So basically, it's just you just have to understand the postal service. It is the same thing as a network, just to replace person with application layer and transport layer. The post office as a uh, replace post office as a router, and the uh, address of our house with the I would say the address of our house with IP address. So basically, this is all the same thing. So I hope you can understand or hold this thing because I try to make it simple. Uh, so if you like this video, please like, share, and comment, and also subscribe my channel for next video, which is going to be based on the next layer of TCP/IP model, which is going to be the physical link and everything. So thank you so much.